August 1963, King staged his greatest production of all. This time, the drama did not come from images of violence, but from the astonishing sight of 250,000 peaceful protesters from all walks of life descending on the nation's capital.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream.
Viewers around the world watched transfixed as a parade of celebrities, black and white, called for unity in the struggle for racial justice.
Mr. Bramwell, what sort of an impression has this day left with you?
It is possible for all men to come together in a sense of goodwill and to solve problems in a democratic way.
The truth of it is that the March on Washington was what transformed a Southern, predominantly black movement into a national movement. It meant that we were not just an isolated movement.
This movement became a universal movement. There were whites protesting alongside blacks. The news cameras couldn't look away, and ultimately it really changed the evening news as we know of it.
Late today, the federal government...
Nightly news was only 15 minutes during the sit-ins and the freedom rides, even the Birmingham crisis. But by the fall of 1963, CBS first went to 30 minutes. NBC, Huntley Brinkley went to 30 minutes.
Speed and efficiency in the New York and Washington nerve centers of NBC News. These now make possible the expansion of the famed Huntley Brinkley report to a full half hour.
Television became a bigger presence in people's lives just in time for Freedom Summer and the peak of the Civil Rights era.
The explosion of media attention inspired a surge of new recruits, mostly young and white, into the movement.
We all feel hopeful that we are going to be able to do something, and that something really will come out of the summer.
What areas will your main activities be in?
Well, primarily we're working on voter registration, various forms of political education, and then what we call freedom schools.
One of these young leaders was Bob Moses of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC.
SNCC was thinking about how to get their point of view in front of the press. We understood that it didn't matter that black people got killed. We saw that what attracted the media to the whole campaign was the influx of Stanford and Yale.
We have been invited, and we're simply helping people.
The students representing the elite structures of the country.
I really believe in these things that may sound idealistic, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and I think it's important for everybody to have these.
It was clear at the orientation that the media were latching on to every young little white girl they could find who would be, post a picture back home. That's what the press was interested in. That's what brought the press. Clearly.
I'm just wondering if people in this room understand, one, that people should be expected to get beaten. They should expect to spend in jail, and it may go beyond the summer when they're in jail, then that they should expect possibly somebody to get killed.
I don't believe that one single white person who came there felt that they were being used. People came, they were warned from the outset something terrible may happen to them.
Nick, in your own mind, have you thought about the dangers in Mississippi, that you might come into physical harm?
Yes, I certainly have. And I
As a recruiter, I was asking not only for their name, the address, their parents and everything, what is the newspaper in your hometown? Who should we contact if you get arrested, if something happens to you?
Even if some of us are killed, even if I am killed, we will have died. Each death is going to bring Mississippi nearer to reconciliation.
Oh, I was terrified. Before, during, it was terrifying.
Young men and young women take up the burdens of their convictions. Without ceremony,
occupied with the paraphernalia of departure. And they go.
The media was going to follow the kids in.
They set forth for a summer in Mississippi.
The most dangerous time, it's the entry point into Mississippi. We'd have been all right if everybody had gone down together with the whole press. That was their protection to enter Mississippi.
However, soon after arriving in Mississippi, 3 volunteers, 2 white, 1 black, left the group to investigate a church burning.
Schwerner, Cheney, and Goodman, 2 white Jewish kids and a black kid from Mississippi, had not come back by the appointed check time.
The 3 civil rights workers who disappeared in Mississippi still have not been heard from.
People are calling reporters saying there are missing civil rights workers in Mississippi. That was one of the reasons that allowed for this real convergence of press interest that went right up into the White House.
Miss Schwerner, I talked to the governor there, and he is making all the facilities of the state available in the search.
It became the dominant story of the summer.
Did Mr. Schwerner ever tell you in his own words why he came down here?
He wanted to find what he could do about an intolerable situation.
Very quickly, the media focused on Rita Schwerner, the telegenic wife of missing activist Michael Schwerner.
That the people in this country have had enough.
They went all over Rita. And Rita was about 5'2", she weighed about 85 pounds. They went up to her and they said, "Mrs. Schwerner, how do you feel?" And Rita wouldn't play. She said, "You would not even be interviewing me if my husband was black." And it was true. It was true.
Mrs. Cheney, the wife of one of the missing white men, has said that the only reason this case has attracted national attention is because there are 2 white Northerners involved. Do you believe that?
Well, that's what I feel too, because if he was by himself, I doubt that we would ever know anything.
The bodies of Goodman, Schwerner, and Cheney were found in an earthen dam 44 days after their disappearance.
Question facing everybody under the sound of my voice tonight, and every person who lives in this nation. Not so much who killed those young men, but what killed them. And when we move from the who to the what, in a strange sense, their death involves all of us.
The reporters in the civil rights movement were presenting stories that made average Americans question their accepted reality.
The bombing of this church claimed the lives of 4 little girls attending Sunday school.
People didn't know black people very well. They weren't aware of what lives were really like, because black people were largely invisible to most of white America.
There have been 5 church burnings in the past dozen days. All the churches were Negro churches.
People couldn't believe at the local level, but all over America. They read about it, they saw the photographs, they saw it on the news. People identified with us.